Hi again, this is Woman International Master Marie Antoinette Santiago from World Chess Power and beyond, and let's learn to play chess with Coach Marie. I hope you came from our first two videos wherein we learned about the chessboard and its squares. We also learned about the directions. We were also introduced to the pieces and their values or points. In this video, we are now going to learn how to move the pieces. Let's go! If you remember, we have learned about the values of the pieces, just a review. The highest points or the most powerful piece would be the queen with 9 points. Next one is the rook with 5 points. And then we have our two minor pieces, the bishop and the knight, which both have 3 points. And lastly, our pawn that has 1 point. And what about the king? Hmm, I hope you remember that the king doesn't have any point because the king is not up for trade. We cannot trade the king at all. Okay? So I hope you remember all the points. Next, our first stop now is the king. The king is considered the weakest piece just because he can only move one step in any direction. And as we already know, direction means through files, ranks, and diagonals. But in this case, as you can see on the board, we have the king on d4. The green circles around the king, those are the only squares that the king can go to. Only the squares next to him. Okay? So he can only move one step at a time in any direction. All right, next. Next one is the strong rook. Do you remember the value or points of the rook? I just said it a while ago. Yep, 5 points. Now, the rook is one of our long range pieces. What do you mean by long range, coach? Well, he can move far away, end to end, as long as he is not blocked by any piece. As you can see on our board, the rooks can move in what direction? Yes, through ranks and files. The rooks can move vertically and horizontally, and the rooks only uses straight lines. All right. Next one is another long-range piece, the bishop. Just like the rook, the bishop can move far away, end to end, as long as he's not blocked by any piece. However, unlike the rook, the bishops can only move through diagonals. Yes, at the start of the game, we will have two bishops. The two bishops are light squared and dark squared. So, can they ever meet each other? No, they can never change colors, so they can never meet. Okay, they're like partners in the game. Okay, next one. It is the last long range piece and the most powerful one. Yes, the queen. And a lot of you guys loves the queen and the queen is your favorite piece and I totally understand. If you look at the board right now, you will see how powerful the queen is. She can go to a lot of squares. There's a lot of green circles on the board, isn't it? And she can move in any direction. She is like a mix of what pieces? Yes, she is like a mix of a rook and bishops. And she can move through files, ranks, and diagonals. This is also why she is considered as the most powerful piece because of how good she is with mobility. She can go end to end as long as she is not blocked by any other piece as well. Okay, take note. The queen's movement can also be blocked by another piece, even though she is the most powerful. Okay, next one. Our last officer would be the knights. The knight is considered as a short range piece, but he is special. Why is he is special? Because he has a special ability. Like magic powers, he is the only piece that can jump over other pieces. He is also the only piece that has a special kind of movement. We cannot say that he is going to move through files, ranks, or diagonals because, again, he has a special movement. And as you can see here, he jumps like a letter L, a big letter L. And as you can see on the board, here we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 squares that the knight can go to. But coach, how can the knight go there? That's kind of confusing. I know. So I have special tips for you to remember how to move the knight. So he might be a bit confusing, so let me tell you some steps and tips. First, always remember that the knight can only move to the other color of the square he is in. For example, right now, what is the color of the square the knight is in? Yep, dark square, right? And as you can see, if you have observed, the green circles are all on light squares. Okay, so again, always remember that the knight can only move to the other color of the square. For example, if he is in a dark square, he can only move to a light square. If he is in a light square, then of course, he can only move to a dark square. Okay? Second, I use this step 1, 2, and turn. Okay, again, remember 1, 2, and turn. So you step 1, 2, turn. So here on our board, as you can see, with the broken lines right there, you go down step 1, 2, and then you have to turn your knight. So you can either turn left or right. And in this diagram, we have turned to right. Okay, so step 1, 2, turn. 1, 2, turn. Okay, so you have to remember that when you are trying to move the knight. For this one, this piece, I would suggest that you would need lots of practice over the board so that you would master how the knight moves. Okay, lastly, our last piece is our mighty soldier, the pawn. The pawn has many points or only 1 point? Yes, he only has 1 point, but he is also special. So don't look down on him. He is still a special piece. Now, the pawn has some set of rules and also a special ability as well. First, always remember that the pawns can only move forward, never backward. The pawns can never move backward. Okay, so the pawns or our soldiers is only moving forward. He is that brave. Now, second, when a pawn captures, for example, look at the board, we have our pawn on h7. Again, pawn on h7. Now, the pawn is looking at the knight. You can see the arrow pointing towards the knight. Yes, the knight on g8. The pawn can capture one step diagonally. Okay? The pawn can capture one step diagonally. Okay? So that is also moving forward, but diagonal. He cannot capture a piece that is in front of him. He can only capture when it's on the diagonal. Okay? One step diagonally. Third, at the start of the game, if you remember our starting position, our pawns are on the second rank, okay, or rank number 2 if we are playing as white, and it will be on the 7th rank or rank number 7 if you are playing as black. Now, if your pawn is from the starting position, again from rank 2 or rank 7, you can move 2 steps forward. Okay? Again, if you are from the starting position, in this example, the pawn on f2, yes, the pawn on f2 can move 2 steps forward. But all the other spaces, if you are not from the starting position, just like the pawn on c5, okay, again, the pawn on c5, not on the starting position, he can only move 1 step forward. Okay? You can only move 2 steps forward if you are from the starting position. I know coach is repeating a lot of things, but this is very important. Lastly, the pawns have a special ability, and I am excited to show that to you. It is what we call the promotion. Okay, but we are going to talk about special moves on our last video, on our next one. Okay, so for now, we are just learning how to move the pieces itself. Okay, all right, let's review. Okay, let's start with the pawn. The pawn can only move forward. Mhm. The rook can move through files and ranks. Yep. The bishop can move through diagonals. The queen is like a mix of the rook and bishop. She is the only piece that can move through all directions, files, ranks, and diagonals. The king, who is considered as the weakest because he can only move 1 step at a time. And finally, the knight, which is the only piece that can jump over pieces. So that is his special ability, his magic powers, and jumps like a big letter L. Okay, I hope you will remember how to move the pieces, but if you want to practice it out, I've put the link here that you can use. You can just click on it and you will be forwarded to the link or to the site, the Leeches.org site, wherein you can practice moving the pieces themselves. I hope you will practice because I will see you on the next video for our special moves. Bye!